Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for coming to my reception. It's so great to see so many faces. This is Remote Gallery. It's a really great space. They run different programming and exhibitions for artists, and it's run by Akin, who runs artist studios throughout the city. They're a great organization, and I was really happy to find this space. As some of you know, I'm represented in Ottawa at Wall Space Gallery and also in London, England. But I wanted to have this show a little closer to home, so I'm glad that I could have it here. This is my new series of paintings in this room. It's called The Brush Returns. After almost 15 years, I've allowed myself to use brushes again. To all my family, friends, and fans, you know this is a big deal. So this decision to lift my self-imposed brush ban was not easy. It took literally years to unfold. I put so much thought into it. Actually, I wrote a version of this talk last year before I even started the series because I really wanted to write it down, say it out loud, and think it through before following through with the idea. Confidence in my work has brought me to where I am today. Even in my final year of university, I wasn't really fond of critiques. I always had a reason why I put a color where I put a color, why I put that line there. I would listen to everyone's input. Don't get me wrong, I would listen, I would consider everything, but at the end of the day, I always ended up following through with what my initial plan was. I was always told that you need to have a really thick skin to survive in the art world, and I've definitely grown one over the years. But even so, somehow this decision left me feeling really vulnerable. Because as an artist, changing direction isn't easy. I've become internationally known for my brushless painting technique. My practice has been literally built around painting without brushes. And I've shared that process really widely online. Over the years, I've built a loyal following of fans and collectors, and because of that, I felt this pressure to just keep doing what I was doing. I felt like even if I looked at a brush in my studio, I felt like I was letting people down. So in the other room, you will have seen a selection of paintings that I created between 2013 and 2024. All of those paintings were created without paintbrushes. And I really wanted to display those works right next to this new series to kind of show the evolution of my technique over the years. I initially gave up paintbrushes in 2011 to challenge myself. I wanted to take away total control, and at that time, that meant the paintbrush. My work is about bringing nature back into the city, and I wanted my process to reflect that, built on organic drips and flows. I wanted to learn how to create concrete forms by working with gravity. And I did that. I reached a point where I can predict exactly where a drip is going to fall to the millimeter. I mix my paint a certain way so that it falls perfectly straight. And somehow along the way, that spontaneity that first drew me in began to fade. The drips were no longer organic, and I knew it was time to push myself once again. Eliminating the brushes was a risk, and now bringing them back is another. Stepping outside your comfort zone is just never easy. I first felt this shift in my work when I created my first mural about 5 years ago. Drips alone were just not practical to fill an entire wall. Not to mention, I could not spin the wall to direct any flow. So I had to adapt. I had to break my own rules. So I allowed myself to use brushes, but only for murals. And when I did, the results really excited me. My work somehow became even more drippy, even more organic, and I loved it. So I kept going. I painted more murals. I created a 50-foot-long mural at the Art Gallery of Northumberland, and it was such an incredible experience. I knew from the beginning that that mural was temporary. I knew that it would get painted over in about a month following the exhibit. Did that make it easier when the paint actually covered the mural? No. It actually was a lot harder than I thought it would be. So from that day forward, I decided to work on aluminum panels so that when the show was over, or if a mural needed to move locations, it could be deinstalled and reinstalled somewhere else. So I ended up doing that again in Coburg at the Art Gallery of Northumberland. I created a mural on aluminum panels. It was after the show, it moved on to be displayed in the town of Coburg outside for a year. And then it was acquired by the town and is now on permanent display inside the Coburg Community Center. So it was a good idea. But I decided that I really enjoyed working on this aluminum. It was different than canvas. And before long, I was working on small aluminum panels in my studio. Now, when you work on aluminum, it's very similar to drywall, and it's a non-porous material. So the paint didn't absorb, and I couldn't do what I normally do on canvas to do the color blocking and the large gradients. So I had to use a brush. So I allowed myself to do that, but only on aluminum, not on canvas. So up until now, I've only allowed brushes when I felt I had no other choice. Using a brush on canvas scared me because I was worried about what people would think. That someone would see a brush and assume that I'd been dishonest all along. I thought about the reactions of those who maybe haven't seen the full evolution of my work and would judge a single moment without understanding the bigger picture. But the truth is, the world really usually isn't paying as much attention as we think it is. And I know I don't need anyone's permission to use a brush. And I knew that I needed to feel free in my studio to create great work. So that brings me to today. This series, The Brush Returns, marks a major shift in my work. I cleared my mind, I let go of the rules, I allowed myself to pick up a brush alongside squeeze bottles. This isn't about saying goodbye to drips. I love working with squeeze bottles, I love working with gravity. It's just about allowing brushes and drips to work together to keep the organic, spontaneous energy alive in my work while continuing to bring nature back into the city. So some of these paintings, hopefully you've had a chance to look around. A lot of the architecture in the work is inspired by London. I spent 2 months in London with my family to complete an artist residency, and I picked up a lot of inspiration, so it's nice to finally get that out on canvas. You will also find structures from Ottawa. This is Ottawa here. There is Toronto in these pieces. There is waterfalls from Iceland, trees from Kelowna, trees from Minden on the piece just around the corner there, the red piece. And the Grand Canyon makes an appearance on the piece over there called Room with a View. And I've used a variety of very fun, bright colors in this series, and all the works combine city life with nature. And as you can see, the subject matter of my work hasn't changed, but how I create it has. The title of the show is more important than it might seem. It's not just announcing a change to the world, it's a way of letting it settle in for myself. Some of you may have noticed I've been posting more aggressively than normal leading up to the show. Whether you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, or not Twitter anymore, sorry, X, but I'm not a part of it. I don't have an account anymore. But TikTok or YouTube, I've been really repetitive. I would try to say something unique each time, but then after that, I would name the name of the show over and over, The Brush Returns. I told myself that the world can watch, question, or cheer, but either way, it's happening. I've let my work evolve, and I really hope that you all like where it's going. Thank you for listening.